Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am so glad you've joined us today for what I know will be a powerful and uplifting conversation. Here in this space, we gather to learn, to be inspired, and to remind each other that no matter what season we're in, there's always room for growth, restoration, and hope. Today, in our live series, I'm joined by certified menopause coach Patrice Lockhart, and we'll be talking about something I believe every woman needs to understand more deeply, and that is the impact of nutrition during perimenopause and menopause. We'll also dive briefly into her inspiring book, Menopause as Metamorphosis, and hear her reflections from the Thrive and Restore Her retreats. So settle in, invite a friend, share the link, and let's dive into our conversation. Hello, Patrice. Welcome to the
Hi,
conversation today. How are you?
I am well, Duquesa. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for being so willing to share. I'm super excited about what we're going to talk about today. But before we
Mhm,
jump into the topic, do me a favor, please. Introduce
mhm.
yourself to our audience.
My name is Patrice Lockhart. I'm a certified menopause health and wellness coach. A recent author of a book that I'm so proud of, Menopause Metamorphosis, What the Butterfly Knew. I have been, I'm the first certified menopause health and wellness coach in the Bahamas and Caribbean. And my mission is to help women maneuver or navigate the menopausal transition. One of my mottos is that I want to leave every woman better than I met her. And it's been a mission of mine from the very beginning because of my own personal journey going through this menopause transition, which I am still going through, but I have finished the perimenopause, I've finished the menopause, and I am officially in postmenopause. Um, that is a bit more about me.
Well, listen, I love when we can share from experience, like firsthand
Mhm,
knowledge of a particular thing,
mhm.
understanding that you've journeyed through menopause, and also having a background understanding of the reason you wrote your book, the reason you're so passionate about helping
Yes.
other women to understand that menopause is normal and sometimes it is misdiagnosed, right? And
Oh,
so we have to be advocates for ourselves as we begin
yes.
to transition into a new season. I love that your book calls it like a new beginning. It's a new
Yes.
season that we're entering, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, it's nothing to be afraid of. And so
Yes.
let's talk about it then, Patrice. When you hear the word menopause, or can you tell us a little bit more about what drew you into this work and why it's so important for women to have support during menopause and perimenopause? Because we all hear menopause and perimenopause, and
Mhm.
typically it's not like anything positive or
Was it?
exciting.
No.
So tell us, like, why you got into this work and why support is so important.
I got into this work because of my own personal experience. My menopausal journey, my perimenopausal journey, was hell on fire. I cannot even describe it any less than that. And going through my perimenopause phase, I didn't know what was going on with me, what was going on with my body. I was having sleep issues. I ended up stopped sleep. Couldn't sleep anymore. I stopped sleeping. I was putting on weight. I was dealing with anxiety. That was a season, and I couldn't get any answers. And it got very severe. And I ended up at the doctor's, and they still did not tell me I was perimenopausal. I
Oh,
had another
wow.
season where the heart palpitations went crazy. In fact, when the doctor had to end up coming to my house early one morning because I was home here alone with my elderly mother, and when things were happening with me, I didn't tell her because she's elderly. She couldn't do anything for me, and I didn't
Hmm.
want to stress her out while I was going through that night. And early into the morning, when the doctor came, he said to me, Patrice, everything you describe is what a person goes through, or a patient, he said, just before they die of a heart attack. And he said, obviously, it wasn't your time. Um,
Hmm.
went through that. The doctors, they had to do tests. I had to wait for the test for them to see what happened to my heart. When they called me and said the test was ready, went there, asking the doctor what happened. He's first of all, the good news was that your heart is fine. And understand, years prior to this, I had had an accident where my sternum bone was fractured that protects the heart and the lungs. So I had already had an issue prior because with the accident at one point, breathing and my heart was doing crazy things because the airbag exploded in my chest. So going through all of this, I had no support. I didn't know what was going on. Many nights I cried. I couldn't sleep. My heart was coming out of my chest. No one could tell me. Gone to the doctor with the heart thing, and they said, okay, your heart is fine. Asked the doctor what happened. He looked at me. I don't know. And he gave me the example. It was like a bucket of water. Somebody came, plunged their hand in. There was a lot of activity. Then it stopped. And he looked at me. I don't know what happened to you. Got addicted to sleeping pills at one point because I couldn't sleep. Um, that doctor told me his mom is having the same problem, sleep issues. He don't know why that happens to women. I mean, I could
So,
give
Patrice, can you just tell us what length of time did all of this happen in?
this was about 8 years. 8 years
Oh, wow.
I went through the perimenopause transition and no help or support. 8 years, eight doctors,
Oh,
no one. It wasn't until the
wow.
middle of a night, one night, around about 2, I thought I was having a heart attack. I called a friend. Fast forward, after all of that happened, I learned I was perimenopausal. With the help of God, I had to become my own rescue because there was no one
Yes.
had helped me. I spent
Yes.
many days and nights crying, not understanding. I had bags
Mm.
under my eyes like this. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. And when I did learn what was going on, because I was already in the natural health field, I was able to help myself. And the first thing I was able to do was stop the heart palpitations.
Okay.
And during that time, women were coming to me, menopausal, asking for help. And I'm like, why are these people coming to me?
Mm.
Eventually, what I decided to do, because so many women were like me that needed help and there was no help, I decided, you know what, I was going to be that change agent in my country. And
Mhm.
I certified with Menopause Movement in the UK
Mhm.
to be the first certified menopause health and wellness coach.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I see our audience is already chiming in. Andrea is saying, good afternoon. I see Dash is saying that your ambition is a great one. Arlie is saying, good evening. I see Christine is saying, God's afternoon, ladies. Andrea said she did not know menopause had stages, and also that is a great title for the book. It is very creative. Dash is saying that it sounds like something to set you crazy. Um, I see Anastasia saying good afternoon. Dash again is telling you congratulations. I see Coach
Thank you.
Renee saying awesome. And I see Anastasia is replying to Dash saying, yes, it certainly can set you crazy. Now, audience, as you're listening and watching, I would like to ask you to respond to a question in the chat for me, please. What's one symptom or challenge you wish more people talked about openly when it
Mm.
comes to menopause? Now, as the audience is getting that already, Patrice, let's move the conversation along a little to how nutrition plays a powerful role in every stage of life, and it's just as important in perimenopause and menopause. What are some nutritional shifts that women should consider as they begin to transition?
When women go into the menopausal transition, things are changing in their bodies. So their bodies' needs change, whether you have severe symptoms or not. One of the first things I say to women, you need phytoestrogen.
Mm,
Phytoestrogen comes from plant estrogen that when it comes into our body, it mimics our estrogen and it stabilizes our hormones. Because it's
mm,
during this time for so many of us, it's the estrogen that's declining. So when we do what has to be done and put this estrogen back in the body, we find that the body, the hormones tend to balance. Even with the progesterone, progesterone begins to decline. Research shows around 35. But progesterone helps to keep the estrogen balance. So when we begin to put things like phytoestrogen in the body, it helps with balancing the hormones. Another thing that's needed is omega 3. Omega 3 is needed for brain and joint health. It acts like a oil for the brain and the joints. For heart, because we naturally, I don't care if you're slim, if you're healthy, one of the things that we are at risk for because you are a woman naturally when you hit the menopausal transition is heart disease. And it is because of the role that the estrogen played with the heart. So that
mm.
omega is so important for heart and brain and joint. Then
Oh, wow.
also very what we need to stay away from. I know this sounds so cliche, but carbohydrates, refined carbohydrates. Yes, it did something to us and we hear before, but if it's ever a time, refined carbs are not our bodies again because of the change. And we become insulin resistant. And it is so important to be able to understand that switching to things like food that are rich in fiber is so much more
Mm-hmm.
important. Even things like using turmeric. I personally am on this journey. Um, I have to help keep my weight balanced. There are times when I'm not paying attention, I end up putting on weight.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I am doing in this part of what I'm doing is I am causing my body to burn fat throughout the
Mm-hmm.
day.
Wow,
And
that's exciting to hear that that product itself can help your body
yes,
stay in
but
a burn mode.
listen here, there are things that we have to become as menopausal women because women, I was speaking to another menopausal woman and she was talking about her weight. But it's, yes, just yesterday, and it's understanding what
Mm,
the body's needs are different
yes,
during menopause than previously. So when you
yeah.
understand, another thing we need as far as nutrition is concerned, collagen.
Mm,
Our collagen is depleting, and the decline of the estrogen causes that decline to go even further. So it impacts
yeah.
our skin, it impacts the
Mm,
vagina, it the collagen overall, because the wrinkles and all of that.
mm-hmm.
Even though we are going through the menopausal transition, and that's why some women can look so much older, and then some
Mm-hmm.
can look so much younger. When you put
Oh boy.
nutrition in,
Mm-hmm.
it can either help you during menopause or it can
Mm-hmm.
um, be a trigger.
Boy, our audience is so active. I see Cindy is saying good afternoon, but I see Arlie in response to the question that I asked. about what the question was again. It was what aspect of
You wish people told you
yes,
about.
talked about more when it comes to menopause. And I see Arlie is talking about sex. Christine Lundy is saying anxiety and mental health. I see Dash is saying that I want people to talk about the spasms and the heart palpitations. People always talk about sweats, and that seems like that's all there is. Any
Yeah.
other symptoms besides sweat? I see Anastasia is saying I didn't experience much of the symptoms I hear a lot of women complain about, and I believe it was due to my diet and exercise regime. I see Carla is saying anxiety, joint pains, mood swings. I see Dash who's saying I'd love to know your regimen. Shakira
Mhm.
is tuning in. She said, Blessed Sunday. Coach Renee is saying, can you talk a little bit more about brain fog? And we're going to do that just a little bit later. I see Christine is saying, doesn't Dash? She's letting Dash know that there's so many symptoms. I see Rosemary saying
Yes.
hello. Carla is saying proper diet is 100%. Andrea is saying, I
Yes.
want to know about symptoms and what to expect at what age. When would I know I'm experiencing menopause and not just the normal crazy? What do you mean the normal crazy? So Carla is saying collagen is important. And I also see Arlie is saying that she hasn't experienced all of the symptoms because of surgery. However, she's heard that it can affect your bedroom with your husband. It absolutely can, right?
Yes.
So Patrice, let's just talk about one or two. I know these things aren't on our discussion board for today, but if we could take a
Uh-huh.
minute, because we're already halfway into our show. Let's take a minute then and respond to um, brain fog, and then also apart from brain fog, Andrea's question I think is important because people think that menopause starts at 50. So let's talk about brain fog first, and then let's talk about that age span and what you could expect in between.
Okay. Okay. Women, one of the things that women have not been told was that menopause impacts our brain. The menopause transition is more than just a reproductive transition, it's also a neurological transition. Our brain go through a total 360 during this time because the hormones have been these major hormones have been impacting the brain and helping the brain to function all of these years. And of course, when you have the decline of these various hormones and they were helping certain parts of the brain, then you will be impacted. To Andrea's question about anxiety, there's a part of our brain called the amygdala that deals with the emotion. It's our emotional center. And that part of the brain, as you go through menopause, and for a lot of women, is that it's like a gas tank. I usually say that a car can have a full tank of gas, and that's what you have throughout your life until you get to menopause, perimenopause. And that gas in your tank is estradiol. That estradiol begins to go down as you go into your menopausal transition. As your gas goes down though, remember that gas has been helping certain parts of your brain, and a part of your brain is that part that deals with the emotions. And so because that part of your brain isn't getting the support, you women have a lot of these emotional stuff, mental stuff, anxiety, depression, mood swings, etc. And I just want to put aside here one of the things that I talk about in my book, this menopause being a metamorphosis, what the butterfly knew. Here's what I've found dealing with so many women throughout the years. And my women, I deal with them in the Bahamas, in the USA, in the Caribbean. The women, I find that the women who have been through a lot of trauma, who's hiding a lot of stuff in their soul, who has a lot of pain, who's dealt with a lot of disappointment, and they've been throughout the years, and they've not processed them properly and they've been stuffing them down in their soul. It's during this time so many women, the women who have the most, I would say, emotional and mental issues are those who have so much unresolved stuff, unprocessed trauma, pain, disappointment. And it's at this time when the brain is going through so much, and that part of the brain that's been handling those things, it kind of spills out. And that's why I talk a lot about that in menopause as metamorphosis. And menopause is that time when we have issues like that. It's actually our body and our souls coming to us and saying, let's deal with this. Let's get rid of this stuff. Let's process this. Because in order for us to move forward to the next chapter, we have to deal with this stuff. And I've had to help many women unpack stuff that they stuffed in themselves for years. Now, to the other question about the timing. Naturally, women go into menopause, perimenopause in their 40s, early 40s. And that's when they're on the last 8 to 10 years of eggs that they came to this earth with. And usually, now this is, and in my book, one of the things I do in my book, I have a whole chapter. I went through, I look at women in America, women in Canada, Spanish speaking women, German women, the Caribbean women, and we all have different times set when women tend to age, to end menopause, but it begins in the early 40s. Now, we have women, any woman who ends menopause before 40, it's called early menopause. And usually there's something wrong. Either something's wrong with the ovaries, she has PCOS, she has cancer, dealing with cancer treatment or something like that. But naturally, because we're on the last set of eggs, this is what happens. What's shown is that Spanish, Latino women, and Black women in America tend to end generally around 49 years old. And when I say they stop bleeding, which is when
Okay.
they go into menopause. When I initially started years ago, I found that there was a group of Bahamians also. But throughout the years, I've been finding the women end between 51 and 54 years of age. Now, that's the average. I do have women, we have lots of women who end after and, even end before. In my last session, I had a 65-year-old woman in my session in March who was still bleeding. So we do have women who bleed beyond. Women, and the age that women actually go into menopause, according to the books globally, is between 51 and 58 years of age. And again, culture has a lot to do with that. Then, when women go into postmenopause, which is after she's finished menopause, and menopause is actually a day. And a woman has not gone into menopause until she's had 12 full months of not bleeding. Now, we do have women who I've done sessions, I've met women who stopped bleeding like 17 months and started bleeding. At one session, there was a one woman, 2 years, and she began bleeding. And
Wow.
those are the issues where sometimes women have one or two eggs just stuck right there. And I
Okay.
remember growing up, you'd see in the Inquirer, and for those of you who are too young, you might not remember that the you see
Yeah.
the 5-year-old woman with a baby, and
Yeah.
and that's because for some women, one egg might still be there, just stuck, and
Mm,
we call them the menopausal baby.
right.
Postmenopause, globally, according to the statistics, kind of end around 65. Now,
Okay.
for some before, some after. It depends. And that's
Wow.
when the symptoms tend to dissipate. And I want to
Okay.
talk about the symptoms because a lot of people say they don't have symptoms. And it's because we just don't understand what are menopausal symptoms. When I
Mm,
studied menopause, it is crazy as I watch now the research is being done. When I studied, it was about 34 to 35. That was it. I
mm,
watched as the research was being done because now there are more and more women like me who studied in
mm.
this area, and there is a demand to understand that menopause is a woman's health issue, and we
Yeah,
demand that you put money into it.
yeah.
And then I remember it going to 40. The list came out. This is about 40 symptoms. Then it
Mm.
rose afterwards to 60 something. Now um,
That,
research is saying there's nearly 100, and some saying 100.
wow.
And
So
that's
Dash, I hope you're listening because that's one of the questions Dash asked earlier about symptoms.
yes,
I just want to insert some of the audience as well. Patrice, because Shakira is saying she had weight gain, anxiety, joint pain, uncontrollable sweats, headaches, dizziness, cracking bones, so much more. And I think all of those, the brain fog, all of those are, she said, sleep apnea, all of those are on the list of symptoms
yes.
that you are
And
just about
she
to
has
get into.
a lot of what she said are neurological symptoms.
Hmm.
And that's one of the things when I deal with the women, when I deal with my clients, I can tell whose brain is really triggered because they
Oh
have
wow.
more neurological symptoms. Then we have women
Hmm.
who, like Aurelie talked about, who don't talk about sex. We have
Right.
lots of women who've lost their sexual desire.
Hmm.
It's painful. Down there itches like crazy. Down
Right.
there gets dry. And women
Hmm.
don't, I have women who get my graceful garden and they swear by it because the itching gets crazy for some women.
Yes.
And then we have a lot of
Yeah.
women leaking.
Hmm.
I cannot tell you how much this is so common. Women are leaking urine, but
Hmm.
we're hiding it. Women are
Hmm.
even leaking fecal matter.
Hmm.
Um, but we need to more and more. That's why I'm so passionate about menopause, talking about it. I got loads of
Hmm.
people who pull me to the side after a session and tell me
Right.
because they don't want to talk about it publicly. But as
Yeah.
women, we need to
Hmm.
understand that menopause is a natural transition. Your body is not
Hmm.
broken and nothing's wrong with you. But the
Hmm.
more we are educated, the
Yeah.
more we're able to help ourselves.
So, Andrea is asking if you are someone taking birth control and not seeing a regular period, how will you know when you go into menopause? It's some of the other symptoms, right?
Yeah, you know what? I try to deal with this question. I will try to deal with this question respectfully because women take birth control, and a lot for a lot of women, they use it to stop their periods, etc. But I'm going to give you a natural example because nature speaks clearly about a lot of things that are natural, and when we interfere with a natural design, then we are going to have side effects. It's very much like when I lived in Grand Bahama. There's a part of Grand Bahama that now every time there's a hurricane, it get flood out near the airport. And because they did a lot, there's an area by the water there. They dug up the corals and whatnot. And after they did that, there's a natural flooding that happens drastically in Grand Bahama every year since. When we take things like birth control to stop our bleeding and whatnot, it does not stop the normal, huh, a normal designed way of the body functioning. You will still, and I have a lot of clients like that. When you look at the list of menopausal symptoms, besides the neurological ones with hot flashes, night sweats, dizziness, headaches, nausea, emotional stuff, mental stuff. There is the joint pains. There's the weight gain. There are women who say, "Oh, I had no menopausal symptoms," and I promise you, that same weight gain you think
Mm,
that you blame it on something else, that's because of the decline of the estrogen. That same high blood pressure that you never had, or cholesterol, it's because of the work of the estrogen in your body and
mm,
the decline of it. That same
mm,
joint pains you have, joint back, or that's because of the decline.
mm,
That same your hair thinning, and you can't figure out why your hair is thinning and all. There's so many, and as the research is going on, and one of the things about it is because we have estrogen receptors, and receptors like antennas on the cells, antennas. So they because they're all over our body, estrogen has to do, what they're finding out is estrogen is impacting so much of a woman's life. From the
mm.
wrinkles you have on your skin, you are impacted. Your
Okay.
symptoms may not be severe, which is good, which tells me your adrenal glands are doing well when you went
Right.
into menopause. I promise you, you have symptoms, but you just don't realize that that is
You don't
associated with
connect
menopause.
them.
So that's the
Right.
right.
Yes.
Starts,
Yeah.
yeah.
Boy, listen, our audience
Mhm.
on fire. So Arlie is saying, funny moment. Menopause. Why is it called menopause? And men don't understand. Is it man pause? That's funny. Shakira is saying, in some cases, chemo causes you to start earlier. This is true. Dash is saying,
Oh,
say what?
yes. Mhm.
Dash is saying she don't believe it's all of them symptoms. She can learn. She too young.
Listen, hey, hey, listen, you Dash. Many of us, listen here, many of us, menopause hit us like a
Oh,
tsunami. We didn't know, we
yeah,
weren't ready. 1 minute
yeah,
you're fine, your body's fine. All of a sudden, this stuff is
yeah,
happening. Oh,
yeah. So I see Arlie is saying, thank you for bringing this to light. Dash is asking a question. We're going to come back to this question. Patrice, her question is, how do you replace what you lost? Since it triggers, the estrogen, since it triggers menopause, and we're going to come back to that. And Coach Renee is saying to speak briefly about prolapse. And boy, it looks like we're going to be here all night. So if you can briefly speak to that. But let's do some more comments first. I see Christine is saying education, information, and advocacy are
yes.
important. Andrea is asking, is it normal to leak when you sneeze? Asking for a friend. Just a yes or no answer, Patrice. Is that normal? Yes or
No,
no?
no, that
No.
means
Okay, thanks.
yeah.
Yeah. So Arlie is saying that she had weight gain. Arlie is also saying great information. Shakira is saying, listen, I had fun controlling my menstrual system, but boy, I think I'm paying for that today. And Carla Sweeting is saying, hey, great information. So let's talk very briefly about prolapse. We are actually at the 30-minute mark, but this audience is so engaging. So, guys, while Patrice begins to talk about prolapse, what I'd like to ask you to do is, as you're listening to, well, I see Christine Lundy is saying the leaking during sneezing is not necessarily normal, but it happens because of
No,
the
it's not.
decreased pelvic issues, which is what we're going to talk about
Yeah,
right now.
yeah,
And
we're
while
gonna talk
Patrice is
right.
talking
That's
about that,
menopausal.
yeah, I want to ask you in the chat, based on all the symptoms that you're hearing, are you in perimenopause or menopause? Type yes or no in the chat for me, please. So, Patrice, let's talk about prolapse and the control of the pelvic muscle during menopause.
Okay. One of the things also that estrogen does for our vagina is keep our vagina healthy from the microbiome, um, down there, keeping us free from all of the UTIs, etc., to the floor. Now, when a woman has a prolapse, and this, Andrea, this also connects to your question, we have what's called a pelvic floor. This floor holds up from your your bladder, your uterus, and the bowel, all of the all of that is held up by the pelvic floor. When we go into menopause, unfortunately, one of the things that are impacted by menopause is our muscles. That's why, when we had these nice, strong, I won't hold up my arms because I won't let them flab and let them be flabby in front of everybody. But, we had nice, strong arms. Then all of a sudden, we got these wings hanging out from under here and with our thighs, and we have all of the cellulite. Menopause, also, that's a direct menopausal symptom. And the pelvic floor itself is a muscle. That muscle for many women becomes weak. And just like the muscle in the arm and the leg and the thigh and all of that, it can droop. A lot of women, and that because that's like a floor, like the floor that's holding up your chair or whatever you're standing on, or the floor that's causing you not to sink through to the next floor of a building. If that floor becomes weak and it caves in, everything that is responsible for holding up is impacted. When a woman has their 4 stages of a prolapse, many women have prolapse and they're not aware. Sometimes they're feeling this heaviness down there, and that can be a stage 1 or stage 2. And sometimes some women can actually take their hand, and if they can push themselves back up under there, and it's a weak pelvic floor that's causing it. And so for women who find themselves running to the bathroom, there was a time you used to be able to hold your urine in, and some persons don't like to use the work bathroom, so they have to run to the bath. They can hold their urine in. When you see you start running to the bathroom, your pelvic floor, the muscle, is weakening. When you see you're sneezing, or if you're laughing, or if you're coughing and you urine, your pelvic floor is being impacted. And for some women, like during the stage 4 of a prolapse, is when actually the floor collapses, and many women are able to see something hanging out from their
Hmm.
vagina. But
Hmm.
that's what a prolapse is all about. And it's possible to anybody who is dealing with the sneezing, the peeing, any of that sort of stuff. You need to be strengthening that floor, because that's a muscle just like this that can be strengthened again. And I always tell women the menopausal symptoms can be helped, but it's the vaginal, the menopause symptoms would relate to the pelvic floor. Those are the ones that you have to do something about, or the when it comes to the pelvic floor, it'll just get worse and worse.
Yeah, yeah. I know, Patrice, you
Saggia
offer
and so
a pelvic floor class, and so
yes.
I'm sure this audience would be interested in details about that. Once you have the date for the new class, you can actually come back to the same link and share the information on Facebook for anyone who wants to attend that class and know what to do to help with that.
Hmm.
I see Christine Lundy is saying that she is postmenopause. Francois is saying full menopause. I see my good friend Izibi from LinkedIn saying it's good to be here. Carla is saying
I've
she's in
seen her
full
on LinkedIn.
menopause.
Hi.
Yeah. Shakira is saying she's in full menopause. Andrea is saying, I have no idea what I'm in. I just know I'm in something and I want off this crazy
I have a
train.
question.
uh-huh.
I have a question. Everybody who's saying they're in full menopause, what does that mean?
Yeah, type
Because
in chat
menopause
what
is
full
just one day,
menopause. One day. So
right?
I also
Yeah.
see Coach
If
Sandy
you've
is saying
stopped
this is
bleeding,
right. That's it. Right. So Coach Sandy
mhm,
is saying that this is a much needed conversation. Francois is saying the shape of her stomach changed in the last 2 years of menopause. I see Arlie is
yep.
saying Patrice can help you, Andrea. She's giving us a lot of information. She is. And there's a lot of information about the pelvic floor, and I think so many women can benefit from that class, Patrice. So once you have the date of the new class, I'm going to make sure that I share it with our audience just in the event.
Mhm.
I'll be a plan B in case you forget. I'll be a plan B to make sure that they get it. Let's shift gears just a little bit, Patrice,
If
and
we,
talk about
can I
your
just
book.
say this? If
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just saying, if we have enough persons, if there's just five, I will do a pelvic floor session,
Mhm.
because I keep them intimate. But if we have five
Okay.
persons, I will do.
All right. So if you're interested in the pelvic floor class, just type yes. Just type I'm interested so we know what's different from you. Okay. So if you're interested and there are five of you, she will definitely put it on. Okay. So Shelly is saying that her period stopped more than 10 years ago, but she still has symptoms. She don't know when that could stop. Andrea is saying great information. Sandy is saying, wow, I had no clue. Um, you have one person saying that they're interested so far. That's Anastasia Christie. We have her contact. So hopefully we have another four so that you can get that class. But let's shift gears just a little bit, Patrice. Your book, Menopause as Metamorphosis, reframes the journey so beautiful. You write that, and I quote, menopause is not the end, it is an elevation. What do you hope women will take away from this redefinition of menopause?
The book actually is a map back to a forgotten truth about menopause. So many menopause is being framed for so many of us as a medical condition where something's wrong. But menopause is a natural transition in a woman's life. And menopause is more than just the ending of a woman's period or the ending of fertility. When when you look at the full picture of menopause, again, I spoke briefly about the emotional aspect of menopause. So many women, um, menopause is actually a becoming, it's a going into another season of a woman's life. But when you see a woman is having all of these emotional issues, it's an invitation from her soul. Like I said earlier, let's deal with this trauma that we have hidden here for so long. Let's deal with this pain, the disappointment that's been stuffed in. Yeah, you're supposed to be such a strong woman and you've stuffed it in, and everybody says you're good and you've handled it, but you know deep down it's there. That part of you, your soul is saying, let's deal with this. Let's get rid of this. Women deal with a lot of, I find that even spiritually, a lot of women begin to ask questions during postmenopause. They begin to ask themselves about, they ask about, their purpose. They're looking at what they need to do. And one of the interesting things about menopause and why women also deal with, we see this movement about I don't care during postmenopause. Here's what happens. Estrogen is responsible for nurturing, for fertility, for us caring. And when that declines, first of all, the brain don't have to deal with that. Your body don't have to deal with all of that fertility changes every month, the period and whatnot. But also with that decline, women tend to, I don't want to use not care, but there is a shift for them because they're not as emotional, because that is what estrogen does for us. It keeps us nurturing, it keeps us very caring, it will cause us to put everybody else above ourselves. Then progesterone. The progesterone is a pregnancy hormone, but progesterone also is a calmer. It keeps us calm. And when you see women go into postmenopause, a lot of times you hear them, they don't have patience for a lot of things they had before. It's either yay or nay. I've been unhappy all of these years. You know what? I'm finished. I'm not dealing with this anymore. These hormones, even the testosterone, you see women, even though low testosterone has a lot to do with libido, it also has to do with energy and strength. That's why a lot of women find they're writing books, they're being more creative. Um, Research shows that our brain literally strips a lot of what's not necessary. And what ends up happening after all of these hormones of decline, there is a creativity, a rise of creativity, wisdom, and it's what the Bible speaks about, about older women.
Mm,
And my book brings all of this holistically about menopause. Even with physical things, with the energy, we're not able to sleep as we should. We have pushed our bodies for so many years, demanding of our bodies during the superwoman years when the body needed to rest. We were pushing it when the body needed to we took it into overdrive. And during this time, it's our bodies speaking to us saying, I need you to stop and I need you to care for me now. I did all of that for you all those years. Now I am not who I used to be. Take care of me. The pain,
mm,
our symptoms are speaking to us.
mm,
The book
mm,
talks about that. And the book actually is a window of truth that
mm,
we've forgotten. And we've
mm,
forgotten it because I go into the history of menopause. I go into how ancient times
mm,
women, older women were honored spiritually and looked to as guides and mentors. But it wasn't
mm,
until 16th century
mhm.
that, and during this time, England ruled the world. Menopause then, and it wasn't called menopause then. At that point, Hippocrates, who was the father of medicine. They saw this time in a woman's life that something was wrong with her ovaries. And then we go throughout the history where we see they thought that, okay, this is a time that makes a woman crazy. Then another part of the
Mm.
history was a time that she needed to be put into mental asylum. This was a
So all
time,
of this
then another
is all
time.
of this is inside the book. All of this is what
Yeah,
you have written
right,
about
and
in the
this is
book.
the
Okay.
history why we
Okay.
are thinking about menopause as women the
Mm,
way we are, the shame, because we are living a legacy of what's been
mm,
passed on to us with menopause. And that's why now we've got to talk about it and break it because it's been
yeah.
passed on to us.
Okay.
And
Now,
so the
I've
book talks
shared
about
with
it.
everyone that the launch date of menopause as Metamorphosis, What the Butterfly Knew, is on August 29th on Amazon. So, guys, on August 29th, please go over to
Actually, the
Amazon.
30th.
It's the 30th. Okay. Please go over.
Actually, been changed to 30th.
Okay, and support
Yes.
Coach Patrice. Now I see Andrea's here talking about. She had me laughing on camera. What type of pass do women get for having a bad attitude? She isn't trying to get away with murder or anything like that, but she's just asking for a friend. So Andrea is also saying that, wow, my symptoms speaking to me, but I was refusing to listen. So, Patrice has told us a lot. She's told us
Yes.
about what her book is going to be about. She's told us about what's happening in our bodies. And so, if you ladies in the chat, as we move on to one or two more questions, as we move into those two questions, if you could describe how you want to feel in this next season of life in one word, like we all women have to transition through it. What would you ideally want to feel like during this stage? So while you type that in the chat, Patrice, I know that you have been a coach at the Thrive Retreat and the Restore Her Retreat, talking about nutrition, wellness 911, talking really about why it's so important for us to watch what we eat, watch what we cook in, and how it impacts our bodies and how it impacts our menopause journey. So as you think about both retreats and how you joined us at those retreats, Share a little bit about what these spaces mean to you personally and professionally
Mm.
as you advocate for menopause.
You know, one of the things I can say about the retreats, if you need to get away and heal, the retreats are amazing. The first one I spoke at was in Florida last year, November. And I remember we had just finished Menopause Awareness Month. And there was so much going on in the country. The Prime Minister declared the month Menopause, the day, October 18th, Menopause Awareness Day. Mrs. Davis was our spokesperson. The OAS had recognized the Bahamas. I mean, the Governor General. I mean, there were so many things we were doing. I was traveling throughout the country, speaking engagements, and I was so fatigued and I pushed myself until I actually wasn't well at one point. But the demand being the first and wanting this to happen in the country was so necessary. And after Menopause Awareness Month, the next week was your retreat. My gosh, even though I came there as a coach, it was so therapeutic for me. It was so healing for me. And I would say to any woman who has not been on the Thrive retreat or the Restore Her retreat, so many times as women, we have on these super capes. We got to do this, we got to be that. And then we don't take the time for self care. The Thrive retreat for me and the Restore Her retreat has been one where a woman can come, take off a cape, a superwoman cape, and be honest with herself, honest with the way she's feeling emotionally. Those things that happen inside of our head, but we keep pushing it back because we don't have time to deal with it. Those emotions that we're feeling, but we don't have time to deal with those emotions. Coach Sandy does an amazing job. And, many times, each time I've had kind of a cleansing every time I go to the retreat. And I have to sometimes sit down and tell myself, Patrice, you're here as a coach. Stop crying. But Coach Sandy does an amazing job. You do, listen here, Duquesa, I have been to retreats, but you are absolutely amazing at how to help women heal, how to help women stop, care for themselves, and then plan properly. For me, these two retreats are the break any woman needs so that she could recalibrate.
Recalibration. I love that word. Oh my gosh. I want to go back though, before we come into this retreat, to talk about what women responded to say they want to feel, Patrice. And some of it is exactly what you spoke about. You got as a result of attending the Thrive retreat. I see Rosemary is saying relax. Coach Sandy is saying she can't wait for the retreat. Shakira is saying, I want to feel light and not bloated, not restless, especially during the night. I want to have a peaceful night's rest. Andrea is saying, I want to feel energized and in full creative mode, not sulking or fighting depression. I want to be my best self. Coach Sandy is saying, vibrant. Dashane is saying the Restore Her retreat was the only time she can say she fully felt balance. I see Shakira is saying, love it. I see Dash is saying, I need a 1 month boot camp or something. I mean, I wanted to take everything and everyone home with me. And
Yeah.
so, the Thrive retreat and the Restore Her retreat are both designed to help women understand the importance of rest and rejuvenation. We
Yes.
go, 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 go. And many of us are kingdom citizens. Many of us are believers and followers of Christ. And Christ led by example, an example that we're supposed to be following. And that example is 6 days we work, 1 day we rest. And so he modeled rest for us.
Mhm.
And so we carve out 4 days for women to feel loved, restored, poured on, energized,
Yes.
vibrant, renewed.
Healed.
Yes, and healed. I see Anastasia is saying she wants to be energized and vibrant. I see Dasha is saying I want to feel healthy and fit. So I have actually put the application for the upcoming Thrive Retreat in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. We have 8 spots remaining. We have a very intimate retreat. I am not the type of coach that is looking for crowds. We want to give people enough time with us. And so we max out at 12 people. And I see Andrea saying that the retreat last November was a transformative experience that taught her so much about herself. Thank you for sharing that, Andrea. And as a matter of fact, if you are in the on the live right now, tell us one thing you took away from the retreat in the chat as Patrice and I move into our final question for today. And Patrice, that is, what's one truth you want every woman to carry with her about menopause and this new season of life?
One truth. You're a powerhouse. More than you'll ever imagine. You are a powerhouse.
Oh wow, that reminded me of Dash last week. Dash had a one line, a one line too, and I love that. I love that we are able to remind women that they are powerful. We are divine beings. We are queens. We are daughters of the Most High God who created us to go through all of the transitions and seasons that we go through. And it's a part of that is to help build our faith. A part of that is to help us stay connected to the source that truly powers us and to understand that we come from baby into child, from child into teenage, from teenage into young adult, into adulthood, and then we begin to get into our mature ages. And God has designed stages for all of us to transition
Yes.
through. And so we ought to embrace each season,
Yes.
understanding that the master knows what's best for
The
us.
truth. Yes.
I see Sandy is saying the question knows how to line up what a woman needs. Carla is saying, I want to feel my old self energized, happy, healthy, fun, very slim and fit. I see Shakira is giving all kind of hand claps. Dasha is saying nobody can love me better than me. And doing so is a matter of urgency. That is something that she took from the Restore Her retreat. Anastasia is saying she took rejuvenation. I see Andrea saying, I learned that my unresolved trauma was limiting my growth and hindering me from acknowledging my true worth. I was a people pleaser and it
Mhm.
was killing me. I see Coach
Yeah.
Sandy is saying these ladies must choose themselves. Please join us at the retreat. You will thank yourself later. I see Christine Lundy is saying from the Restore Her retreat, I received that women need women, community and support, and we cannot
Yes.
give what is
Support.
not deposited. Late Coach Patrice, listen, this was such a phenomenal session. I know that we
Mhm.
could go on. We can
Yeah.
go on and on and on and on. As a matter of fact, we did. We tried to have a 30 minutes or 40-minute conversation, and we are actually at we're at the 1 hour mark. So Dash, whose vibe are you loving? So Patrice, I also want you to know there were 4 people who said that they are interested in the pelvic floor class. So if you scroll back up through the comments, you can reach out to them
Okay.
directly. You just need one more person
Yeah, and I
to
will
make.
do. I will do
Yeah,
a
and I'm
session.
sure you can make that. I see Coach Renee is saying this is awesome. Listen, we are such a phenomenal community of women supporting women. If you are on this live or you catch the replay before August 30th, please join us at Box Fit Nation. August
Yes.
30th, this Saturday, August 30th, for open house and Coach Renee's birthday bash. So she
Yes.
is going to be showcasing everything about Box Fit Nation. That's where
Hmm.
I go to box. I love it. She's my personal coach. And I will tell you that going through menopause, exercise has been one of the things that has truly helped me. And
Yes.
so I love working out with Coach Renee. If you're free, join us. It is actually on Soldier Road. It's between J.S. Johnson and Elite Security. There's a plaza right in the back there. Join us. Box and Burn is free that morning at 7 a.m. House is on sale. We're raising funds so that we can add more to Coach Renee's gym because she is such a phenomenal woman.
Yes.
I really, really love the support that we
The
give each other.
community.
And so
Yes.
Francois is saying that this was an awesome session.
Yes.
Christine, Dash was talking about you when she said she loved your vibe, okay? So Shakira says, I need to work out. So Shakira, join me on Saturday. I
Yes.
see Christine, all kind of love flying in this chat. Christine saying back at you, Dash. And
Yeah.
congratulations and happy birthday, Coach Renee. Dash
Yes.
say, let's go. Listen, ladies, it has been such a pleasure. And what an
Yes.
incredible conversation we just shared. I hope that something said today encouraged you, gave you practical tools, or reminded you that you're not walking this journey alone, that you are powerful. To all of our guests, we want to thank you so much for sharing in the comments, giving your feedback, and also to Coach Patrice. Thank you so much for your wisdom and pouring into us with such authenticity and grace. Like we felt connected to you, we felt your story, we understand your journey, and we want to thank you so much for being open and for showing up for all of us today. As we close,
Pleasure.
ladies, remember restoration and growth, they don't happen at once. They happen step by step, moment by moment. Keep moving forward with courage. Keep giving yourself permission to rest. And most importantly, keep believing that you are worthy of thriving. Until next time, take care of yourself, register for the upcoming Thrive Retreat, stay connected, and let's continue to walk this journey together. Now, next week, Sunday, we are going to be back with another live series. And next week, Sunday, we are going to be talking to, I think it's Christine Lundy. Is it you? Is it you, Chris? Absolutely. So we're beginning talking to Christine Lundy, and that conversation really is going to talk about how to show up for yourself when you're feeling disconnected from your own needs. This is a time that we're going to pour into you and tell you how to truly put yourself first. I look forward to seeing you then. May God bless you all. Take care, guys, and see you
Okay. Bye
soon.
bye.